Okay, so Albert, welcome to the Founders Speak Unplugged.
Thank you very much for having me.
I know you've come rushing in the rain, and we couldn't be more excited having somebody who actually looks, you should be awarded Forbes 20 under 20
Okay.
and not Forbes 30 under 30, but that's okay. Let's get started. Let's ask you to tell us in a quick 30 seconds something about yourself and a little bit about what your business is.
Well, thank you very much for having me. I think I started out my career in traditional finance. I was a pretty young and still tech-savvy person in a company that was pretty old-fashioned, and was always pretty annoyed whenever there was a process that I saw that I didn't think was as efficient as it should be. And so I got the opportunity to look into the tech stack of the company where I used to work and try to come with recommendations for how we could replace the tools that helped us be operationally efficient. And this is, I'll try to do in 30 seconds. That was, challenging, and going out to find vendors, I didn't really find anything that I thought was really cool. And so I did what not a lot of sane 22-year-olds would have done at that time. And I quit my job in order to build something that I was super excited about.
Wonderful. Okay. So, you're somebody who's been named in the Forbes 30 under 30, which is brilliant. Congratulations on that. In this next segment, we want to talk to you about two instances in your journey of the past several years now, where some things that you thought were going to plan did not turn out to be so. And, I'm an entrepreneur myself for the last 10 years, and I know in my journey there are more than many that are of that nature. And so tell us what those two moments may have been that, are top of mind for you. And then tell us, what did you learn from them so that our audiences are able to soak in on your experience?
Right. I think one of the things that I wanted to share, and this might be a bit out of format, but I think it's one of the biggest learnings that I've taken away, is that a lot of people care a lot about venture funding. A lot of people want to raise as much money as they possibly can. And I think we've seen a wave in the last 3 years where a lot of people have probably raised more money than what they should have. And I think the flip side of raising nice amounts of money, it's good. It's a good cushion. It kind of helps you think about how you can grow without needing necessarily to think about the immediate implications of the cost element. But what people don't realize is that the more money you raise, the higher the expectations are. And I think a lot of people probably, including myself, underestimate the pressure that you're under as a VC-funded entrepreneur. And when you're raising, I think everyone that I speak to, we all make budgets and forecasts for how we want our sales to develop and how we want our pipelines to look like. And I think in growing those, and then post-closing, money's hit your bank account, I think a lot of people, including myself, when we raised our second round of funding, I think we got a bit too relaxed. And I think the most important trait for me in entrepreneurs are people that are conservative with money, and not necessarily cheap, but that will try to find a way to do stuff that if you had been a big company or an enterprise, you would have thrown a big development budget or a big 10 full-time employees out into making a marketing ploy. You have to figure out a way to do with one person. And so I think we did the mistake, and looking back at it, it was definitely a mistake. I think we hired too many people too aggressively that we didn't necessarily utilize 100%. I think we got carried away with wanting to hire people from McKinsey and BCG instead of people that actually got down and just got shit done.
Interesting.
And I think that was one of the big learnings that we've done. And I think every time we've raised money, I don't think I've completely learned it yet, because every time, that has sort of happened again. And I think the quicker you realize it and the quicker you can address it, the higher chances of success are.
Interesting. So I love that insight that you're sharing. We hear it again and again, that once you have funding and the bank balance looks 7 figures, 8 figures large, it feels like you can now take a little bit of a breather you tend to hire aggressively,
Right.
and then it becomes a problem because you don't have enough work for them to do. And so what you're saying is it's important to calibrate and be very deliberate about who you're hiring. I was talking to your recently hired marketing head, Christian, and he himself was saying that I don't think I'm looking to rush into expanding my team.
Yeah.
And which I think looks like that you have well applied
Yeah.
your learning, and it's sort of showing in the organization.
Yeah,
Share us, yeah.
And maybe speaking about that, right? I think for us, hiring people that can put themselves to work, that don't necessarily need a long, well-developed marketing plan, or but hiring people that think that kind of have an entrepreneurial fashion to how they apply themselves is key, especially on a small team. We're 43 employees at the moment. And most of our competitors are 500 employees or 1,000 employees. And so how do you tackle, having to compete with people that have been in the market for 20 years, 30 years, 40 years with, 10 times the balance sheet, maybe 100 times the balance sheet that we have, and, 10 times the resources? Well, the only thing that you can do is to have your team be 10 times as efficient, right? And so for marketing, that's a good exercise, right? I think we have, a really stellar marketing director who's able to apply himself and figure out what makes sense, and doesn't necessarily need me to iterate those things for him.
Amazing.
Which I think in an early stage startup is so vital, right?
It is
much more vital than the pedigree of big brand names on people's resumes.
Yeah. I mean, there's that next step in the journey of
Sure.
Where let's say you get to 2 years, 3 years from now into a 200-man team. We've had founders who've come on the stage and spoken to us about the risk and the threat that they see from bureaucracy setting into the system.
Yes.
And so that is a stage which you will get to too in the future.
Unfortunately,
and you'll have to figure out how to keep it at a distance. Give us another instance. What is the other learning that you may have had so far?
So, the other thing that I again think applies very well to us is never ever lose focus on your customers. And this sounds so generic, and I've seen plenty of these podcasts where you'll have some founder that just speaks about how important it is to have happy customers. But I really can't fucking stress how important it is, right?
Yeah.
It's, for us, it is the firm-wide KPI number one. Every week we track how happy our customers is. We have this yellow, green, or red
sort
status.
of a heat map.
Exactly, like heat map, right? So that we use different ways to try to estimate. If we can't get a direct assessment, we try to look at usage numbers. We look at to make sure that our customers are using our product and they're happy doing it. And that's been, again, a learning for me, where I think we went into this growth mindset. Commercially, we were doing really well, and we were just onboarding too many clients. And we had some clients that weren't properly onboarded, where we and that was the biggest battle scar. There was, was a customer that called us up and said, I'm really not happy about the product. I don't know how to use it. My team doesn't know how to use it. And I really think that it's a crappy product. Which was weird because we were our own biggest evangelists of the product. Right? We were super enthusiastic. Most of the company have worked in the types of organizations that our customers are. We service wealth managers and banks. And so we all come with some amount of pedigree or knowledge about the industry. So hearing that from a customer for the first time was kind of this wake-up call of oh, crap, we need to go back, and then we really need to fix it, right? Cancel the invoice, give you some discounts, and then let's fucking work on getting you super set for having something that matters. And I think now we've then grown, and that was we hired an onboarding manager to kind of make sure that the customers were super happy. We begun to make those investments into having happy customers. And the only thing, if I could roll back 2 years, when we begun to sell the product commercially, I wish someone had told me, make sure that you have someone that is dedicated to make customers happy. That is a battle scar that now forever sits not even on my back, but
the whole organization.
My whole body now, thinks about how happy are our customers.
Amazing. Yeah. No. Again, we've heard this many times, as you've said. everyone says it,
Yeah.
but it's that first knock. Bill Gates says it today.
Yeah,
You know that,
yeah,
right? He
probably.
says your best customers are the ones that are complaining.
Yeah, exactly.
Because that's where you learn the most from, and you are able to improve. And then
Yes.
hopefully there are 10 times more who've actually never taken the effort to call you to say how unhappy they are, but they also get benefit of that one that called.
Exactly.
So,
And it's one of those things where I think as an entrepreneur, I don't think you can learn this from others, unfortunately. I wish that you could.
yeah.
I think as early on as you can identify it and embrace it, I think the better. But I do think it does take a punch to the stomach to kind of really, feel the worry, really feel the, really feel, connected. It's almost like I have a second head or something that is our customers, right? I can feel what they're feeling. Right?
Amazing. Okay. Let's switch gears a little bit and quickly to tell us a moment where whatever happened completely outdid your expectations in a positive way. Something happened too fast, or some growth, some funding. I don't know what is one such moment that is not a battle scar, but is an anti-battle scar.
So I think actually I spent some time in Singapore 2 years ago.
Okay.
And we started at a low point. I think we were almost running out of money. It was, I don't think we would be able to cover our payroll 2 months after me being in Singapore.
Right.
I actually wasn't even supposed to go to Singapore, but someone convinced me and said, there's this Singapore FinTech Festival, you need to go. It's the most interesting group of people that you'll meet. And I went and I met an investor there who's now, she's Subun from iGlobe Partners in Singapore. And she came up to me, and we were sharing a pavilion at the FinTech Festival with the Danish delegation. And she asked me to give her a 15-second pitch, and I tried to do my best. And then, you kind of feel like she thought that was interesting, and she asked me what I was doing for dinner the same evening, and we went out to dinner with her family, and it was a pretty crazy experience. And we had chili crab in the outskirts of Singapore. And then she more or less just looked me into my eyes, and then she said, "We would love to fund you.
Wow.
We would love to back you." And this was a completely different mindset, not anything that I've ever tried before. Having someone that just believed in you. She hadn't seen a pitch deck. It was not about numbers. It was about investing in something that she thought would make a difference.
Wow. Well, congratulations, and go
Thank
Singapore.
you. Yeah, go Singapore.
Okay. Excellent. So, and again, every entrepreneur has such moments too in their lives, which are, but they are far fewer than the ones which are, at the other end. Let's quickly jump into our final segment. As I've told you before, we have 4 sets of questions here. You're going to tell me which 3 stacks would you like me to pick a question from and ask you. This is rapid fire, so you have to answer within 3 seconds. Tell us which one. You have to pick 3.
I have to pick 3. So there's one I can
so just point your hand. Which one do you want to go, and I'll pick them up.
I think if I should start with the Shark Tank hustle.
There you go. Okay. So tell us.
I'll
pick it up. You don't read it? Okay,
Okay.
so this one. Okay, so... Okay, what would you do if your biggest competitor started copying your every move?
I think first course of action had to be to figure out why we were different from our competitors. In our case, I think I would spend a lot of time talking about the future, right? And talking about to our customers, to our segments, making sure that we really positioned ourselves as the innovators that, developed a technology, as the, as the inventors. And I think that's one of the things that we try to position ourselves as the people that made this innovation, that hopefully will lead us to be at the forefront of the next leap of innovation, right? When we partner up with our customers.
You're a very nice guy. I would go and bash him out.
You could also, I would do that, I think, after the clock had
okay.
on my own time.
Okay, let's pick another question.
Sure. Give me a this or that.
Okay. This actually is. Oh, this is a trivia. Okay, so. Okay. What is the name of the first woman unicorn startup founder? This is a trivia question.
Of the founder of the company.
You can tell me either.
That is a great question.
Okay, it's a clothing brand.
Oh, that's where I'm not probably the best in. Chanel, maybe?
No.
Well, does that count as a unicorn? Definitely.
No. Chanel's like decades old now.
Yeah.
So this is a company started by Sarah Blakely. It's called Spanx.
Right, okay.
So maybe. Okay, and so now you have a what if or a would you rather?
Hit me with a what if.
Okay, there you go.
I think I'm better than those than trivia. Let me get this one.
Okay. What if your biggest dream client wanted to pay you in cryptocurrency only? What would you do?
That would be fine. I think we already have a ledger and they can happily pay in cryptocurrency if they want.
Excellent. Okay, great. Well, Albert, thank you very much for being on the show.
Thank you very much for having me.
Pleasure having met you. I can see why you were Forbes 30 under 30, and I wish you all the success.
Thank you very much. I'll see you in Singapore.
Yeah, look forward to that.